The shark attack on Jordan Lindsey shocked the whole world and made people realize how dangerous it is to swim in places where sharks are. Lindsey was snorkeling with her family off the coast of Rose Island in the Bahamas on June 26, 2019, when she was attacked by a group of sharks. Even though people tried to save her, Lindsey died from her injuries. The event started a discussion on how to stop shark attacks in the future and made people wonder about the safety of popular tourist spots. The story of how Jordan Lindsey was killed by a shark is a sad reminder of how unpredictable nature can be and how important it is to be careful when going into the ocean. Before moving on to the main part of the video, if you're new to our channel, subscribe to us now and also press the bell icon for regular updates. Let's get started. This Wednesday marked the third day of their vacation in the Bahamas. Like many tourists, they had always dreamed of visiting the island country of the Bahamas. Unlike most places in the world, they were able to fulfill their dream of visiting the Bahamas. After all, it was only their third day and they still had a lot of things to take care of, so Jordan and her family awoke with the sunrise, eager to get the day started. Jordan had breakfast with her family and shared stories with them as they sat together at the table. It was a fun time surrounded by the beautiful sandy beaches in the Bahamas and accompanied by her family and her girlfriend. What more could a 21-year-old girl from Torrance, California ask for back home? Jordan and her family are currently vacationing in the Bahamas. At approximately noon, Jordan and his family had just finished their activities and were about to end the day relaxing and taking in the scenery. However, things were about to take an unexpected turn for the worse. Gianna, Jordan's girlfriend, was also a student at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, majoring in communications. The family saw a sign for the Sandy Toes Tour Company and made a spur-of-the-moment decision to go to Rose Island for the day. The 6-hour excursion consisted of a boat ride, a snorkeling adventure, and a visit to a private beach where swimming pigs could be touched. Although the trip was already full for the day, Michael Jordan's father was able to convince the company to have them on board for the excursion. The company snuck them on board. Excited at the deal, the family headed towards the Paradise Island ferry terminal, ready to board the ferry that would take them to Rose Island. Jordan had always been an admirer of nature and deeply loved animals. Snorkeling and petting pigs in the Bahamas was music to her ears. Jordan and Cammie, on the other hand, wanted the full experience. It was the third day of their trip after all, and Jordan wanted to make the most of it. The family talked it over and decided that they would just park for a while. Later, Jordan and Cammie would rendezvous with Michael and the rest by the beachside, since the distance to the other side where the snorkeling spot was not so far separating from one another. A beachside and a snorkeling spot was not so far apart from one another. A beachside and a snorkel, Jordan received a kiss on the forehead from Michael, who then informed her, "I'll see you later, Jordan." When Jordan and Cammie made their way towards the opposite end of the beach, the other members of beachside who were still there waved goodbye to her. Unbeknownst to them, this would be the last time they would see Jordan alive. The snorkeling spot was not too far away, but walking toward it was a great time for reflection along the way. There was lush vegetation and exotic birds such as peacocks in the area. The trail was sparsely placed with benches, locker rooms, and bathrooms for the tourists. Jordan and Cammie walked up to the guide and followed the trail. The snorkeling spot was not too far away. The constricted Cammie and Jordan conversed about life, her school, and her family as they peacefully walked alongside the other visitors. The young woman, who was 21 years old at the time, had many goals and a bright future ahead of her. Eventually, they arrived at the snorkeling area and put on their wetsuits. Both Jordan and Cammie got themselves ready for the exciting adventure. A particular source of excitement for Jordan was the prospect of seeing the underwater critters. Jordan moved towards the deeper section of the lake, admiring nature through her goggles. It was wonderful timing, as the sunlight began to show itself again, meandering around in the region till it was time to go. Cammie had also entered the water and was having a great time exploring the underwater world. However, as the two of them were having a good time, death reared its ugly head as Jordan continued to look through the water. The coral reefs were illuminated and Cammie was having a great time exploring the underwater world. However, as Jordan continued to look through the water, death appeared. Cammie pushed through the surface unexpectedly, at which point she heard Jordan call out to her mother. She turned her head and observed an odd sight. At first, she believed that there was a school of dolphins surrounding Jordan, and that Jordan wanted to show it to her. However, as she looked more intently, an ominous feeling enveloped her. It was a feeling that no mother ever wanted to feel. A school of sharks had approached Jordan out of nowhere. Immediately, Cammie's motherly instincts kicked in, and she shouted at Jordan from a distance, telling her to swim towards her. However, it was futile as. Although Jordan put up a valiant effort, there was already blood in the water, and the sharks had worked themselves into a frenzy. Jordan let out piercing screams which prompted Cammie to approach her. Cammie screamed at Jordan once more, asking her to swim toward her, but Jordan was unable to swim any longer. Cammie saw that Jordan's right arm had been bitten off by the shark and was horrified by the sight. Cammie immediately sprung into action and began swimming towards Jordan, despite the risk of being attacked herself. Naturally, she was afraid of swimming into the chaos, but the fear of losing. Cammie was able to reach Jordan and fight off the sharks by punching the beasts in the nose and hitting them with everything she had. As she pulled on Jordan, the young girl told Cammie's mother that another shark was coming. The shark sped toward them like a freight train, and they bit off another chunk of Cammie's lower leg. Jordan was bleeding profusely. Cammie never gave up. She dragged Jordan toward a nearby rock and yelled for assistance, until ultimately a bow from the Sandy Toe snorkeling tour came to her aid. When Michael and the other members of the family heard about a teenager being attacked by sharks in the snorkeling area, they were petting pigs by the beach when they got the news. After waiting a few minutes, Jordan was taken by an ambulance to a hospital in Nassau, but when she arrived, she was pronounced dead. By the time Michael and the other family members arrived at the hospital, it was too late. Jordan had passed away as a result of her injuries. In the months that followed her passing, and her family criticized the company for not having any protocols in place when it came to dealing with shark attacks. When the incident occurred, there was not a single member of staff present, nor was there a boat to remove the sharks. In addition, while Jordan was hemorrhaging on a nearby island and was barely clinging to life, the boat that would take her to the hospital arrived without any medical supplies. According to Michael, in fact, they did not even have first aid supplies on board. Michael has stated in his most recent interviews that the Lindseys have called for better responses in the future to avoid the terrible fate that their daughter experienced. Sadly, according to Michael in his most recent interviews, the Lindseys were unsuccessful. Cammie is still too traumatized from the incident, especially because she was present and she witnessed firsthand her daughter resting in her arms while slowly succumbing to her final affliction. That's all for today. Make sure to like and share the video. We will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.